What up, guys? So this video is about my end goal in this whole Nofap journey of mine. We all have the goals, right? We're all doing this for a reason. I've had a lot of people ask me in the comments, what's my end goal here? What's the reason I'm doing this? And there's no simple answer to this. I'll try to keep it quick and short, get to the meat of it all. I truly believe that when you go on a Nofap streak, on a real Nofap streak, with no PMO at all, no edging, real hard mode, it opens you up, man. Like, it turns you into an entirely different person, right? Not the guy you're meant to be, none of that stuff. I've touched on that before. It gives you a window into the mind of a serial entrepreneur, into a brilliant inventor, into an artist who becomes extremely successful. It puts you on the level of those people. Even if you're not meant to be an ultra high achiever or anything like that, you have a small window in your life where you can do a 90-day streak, 200 days, whatever, a year or two if you got it in you, 2 years would be amazing. I don't think if you can do 2 years of hard mode and you're competent, semi-educated, you got a little bit of post-secondary education, whatever, you can create something for yourself, a life where you won't have to work anymore, you know what I mean? You can start a business. Of course you'll have to work, you have to keep that business alive, but it's just like a plane that's got to take off, you know what I mean? It goes faster and faster and faster, but once it's in the air, it doesn't come back down to that runway, you know what I mean? The hardest part, I swear, 99% of people's lives, entrepreneurs, artists, if you want to be an actor, singer, whatever, swear all the ones that don't know about Nofap and all that stuff, they spend their whole life trying to get the speed to take off, and it never happens for them. It happens for the 1%, you know what I mean? The 1%, ultra motivated, highly, driven people. People who have insights, people who get those able to think outside the box type of people. With Nofap, it gives you a chance to be like one of those people if you can do it for long enough and if you can follow a hard mode streak. My end goal in this, I don't think I could do 2 years, but that's what it might take. I want to start a business, a very profitable business with not too many moving parts, where I don't have to hire an entire crew of workers and rent out an office or something. I mean, if the money's good enough, then okay, I'm open to it. But I just want to create a business where I make a good income. I don't have to, do any manual labor. I don't have to do extreme running around. 2-3 hours a day of management type of stuff, making sure it stays profitable and successful. The hardest part is the idea, the launch, and then the momentum, right? That's what it is with every business. You want an idea, an original idea. You want to improve on something, fill a gap or a void. And then, you want to be the best at it. You want to own that space. You want to be able to launch, and then you want to get momentum. Once you get momentum, it's really hard. It's just like objects that, are in motion will stay in motion. At that point, you don't really need Nofap anymore. You can keep it going just fine, just as long as you're a competent individual. And of course, you don't go back to fapping, obviously, right? But that initial jump you need, that quantum leap that you're going to need, it's going to have to come from a decently long Nofap streak. So my whole point in this, I think in 90 days or so, I'll already be working on the idea. I'll be working on the launch. Maybe after 120 days, I could successfully launch. Another 60 days after that, you get some traction, some momentum. Another 60 days after that, gets real traction, momentum, unstoppable, right? And then after that, I would like to, it's probably unrealistic. I doubt I'll be able to go that long without finding a really, good-looking girl. Because that's how it is. The girls just start, I don't want to say they start throwing themselves on you, but that's been my experience. I'm not an overly attractive guy. I got a little bit of fat around the midsection. I got, my fucking issues. Nobody's perfect, And I'm not looking for that kind of chick either, right? It's not like I'm looking for a Mrs. Perfect. I know that person doesn't exist. Everybody's got their minuses and pluses, right? I just want a girl that's down to earth, conservative, because that's what I like in my girls, to be very conservative. Not to have a messed up past and history. I don't need that stuff in my life. Especially now that I'm ready to settle down and do something long term. Ideally, I'd go on a hard mode streak for the rest of my life and become some sort of a household name, but I don't think that's what I want. I just want to be financially free. I want a very good looking girl who has a very good personality. When you boil it down to the bare basics, a lot of stuff in common with myself. What else do we want as men? That, get into the best shape of my life. Those three things are the most important. Everything else is very much secondary. This is my end goal with this Nofap streak. I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life. An extended streak. I know that the next chick is going to be my last, it's going to be my last chick. I'm going to get married and I want to have kids. We have to reproduce. We need to pass our legacy, our last name, our ideals, our thoughts, our bloodline needs to survive, Whether that's a biological trait instilled in us through Mother Nature or not, that's not the point. The point is, you want to feel that you did something with your life and you achieved something. From my experience, Nofap is the only thing that will get you on that level where you really, really outdid everybody else around you, And you can really be compared with some great high achievers, I feel like there's 3 different classes you can go into. The top 20%, which is, whenever you're in a parking lot and you see Mercedes AMG, BMW M series, right? Audi S line. Those types of people are usually top 20%. They usually have the nicer houses in the middle class areas, right? Then you got the top 5%. Those are the guys with like Lamborghinis and mansions, and the ultra high achiever guys, and then you got the 1%, and we all know who the 1% is, the bankers, the billionaires, those types of people. I really think the longer your Nofap streak goes, as long as you're an educated individual, highly competent, if you landed on Nofap, that means you're already searching for ways to improve yourself. You're already thinking outside the box, and if you're open to the idea, then you already got something that most people don't have, which is an open mind, which is something that every entrepreneurial book, every self-help book pretty much tells you to train yourself to do. So if you already naturally got that, you already got an advantage over the vast majority of people who want nothing more than a good job, a warm meal when they get home, and to get drunk on the weekend or sit around, smoke weed, something, whatever they do for their vice, right? Everybody's got their vices. There's levels to this, right? I would like to be in that top 5%. I will be in the top 5%. Given that my streak stays hard mode and I could go, a year and a half. A year and a half? Whew, a year. I think I could do it within a year. It sounds like a huge leap, but then again, who can do a hard mode for 365 days? And those guys that can, yeah, you should put them in the top 5% because that's about the percentage of the population that can do it. Hell man, I'd be happy with being in the top 20%. I've been there. That was all due to Nofap before. I'm kind of enjoying life, traveling and doing all the stuff I want to do, taking an extended vacation, half-year vacation. And even now, when I'm beginning this whole entrepreneurial journey again from scratch, I feel like I'm still on vacation. I'm doing what I want to do. Nofap has allowed me to do that. I'm still running off the steam of my previous streaks. Now that I think about it, it's pretty interesting because I was never like this before. This wasn't me. I was an average person. I was the other 80%. Maybe not the bottom of that 80%, but average guy. So that's my end goal. It's pretty simple, right? What's your end goal? Ask yourself, why are you doing this? You know what I mean? Do you want to be celibate for life? Probably not. Not unless you want to be some extreme Steve Jobs type of person. But do you really want to be that guy? No. You don't want to die in your midlife, stressed out like crazy. No real friends. Everybody's chasing you because they think they're going to get some sort of connection or boost in their own life. I think the top 5% is a really ambitious goal to shoot for, but also very, very realistic. And that's my end goal in this. Sooner or later I will find a good girl. Sooner or later I will start sleeping with her daily. I will have kids. I'm planning very much so to tell her everything about Nofap and And I think any confident, normal woman would be very, amused by the idea. And when you explain to her self-gratification and, not giving into temptation, everybody loves somebody who has very good self-control, you know what I mean? So I think when I have my first kid, my second kid, towards the last, 3 months of the pregnancy, I'll tell her I want to go on the streak, First month and a half, 2 months after the kid's born, that could add on to my streak. Maybe a 5-6 month streak would be awesome, man. If I can do that, if I can get her to agree, that would be great. So if I want to have 2 kids, I still have 2 6-month streaks, hard mode streaks, in front of me, potentially in my life, which I could, go even further and move whatever company I come up with even further and move forward in my life in every aspect. So this is my end goal in this Nofap streak, right? Also, something I never ever expected was the success of this YouTube channel. I didn't know that people would get so inspired and I'd be touching so many people's lives, you know what I mean? Like, there's people out there that I've prevented relapses. There's countless people that have messaged me telling me that they didn't relapse today because of something that they heard. Some vague comment that I made that I didn't think too much of, that I thought would be common knowledge to myself, went really far for somebody else, and that made me feel extremely good. And I feel like this, there's been 200 something new subscribers since I started making videos again. That's 200 more people to this group, this thing that we have, this little army of, self-improvement, this something that we got going on here, man. It's an amazing feeling for me, an incredible feeling. Every single time somebody comments at the bottom of the video, telling me that I'm like a mentor to them. I'm like, they're following everything I'm saying. It's amazing, man. It's crazy to know that, we're beating this thing. We're beating these porn companies and shit like that. It's not just porn, it's just beating off in general, letting yourself fall down for no reason. Self-gratification without any hard work to get there. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous concept that we should never, under any circumstances, allow ourselves to fall into that sort of routine. It's a terrible thing to do, but it's amazing. Anyways, it feels great. It feels really good to have you guys on my side and watching every day and keeping me accountable, and for me to inspire you is an amazing feeling. Thanks for tuning in. That's all I want to say.